Good morning all, hello, welcome to this, just a quick impromptu stream. I just fancied chatting shit for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long I can be able to talk for, really. Where to start, really? Last night, I guess. But before we talk about last night, for anyone that isn't aware, I played my free hit along with many others. And I went with, it's pretty much about as, quote, template as it gets regarding the free hit teams. There's the odd differential in there from a free hit perspective, but overall it's pretty much identical to what you'd expect. Most members that seen the video will already know what this specific team is. And if you are interested, you may look through the mini leagues, etc., etc. But yeah, so I went with Johnson in goal, Robertson, Trent, Mitchell. Do you want to know why I went with Mitchell? Do you want to know why? Some bloke called Abu Baker. Yeah, Abu Baker put in a very well written thread. I just thought, do you know what? He's someone that's very highly regarded in the FPL community, so I just thought, fuck it, I'll just read this thread. And he was just waffling on and on and on, and then he just came to Crystal Palace, and he just said these lines, which is, if I was to go with a Crystal Palace defender, it would be Mitchell, because Mitchell last week was given the free roam to get into the box, and I just thought, well, I was going to go with Guay or Anderson, mainly Guay or Gay, whatever his name is, and I just thought, fuck it, to hell with it, let's go with Mitchell instead because of that potential attacking threat. So get 50p on Guay scoring today. I've already done my bets. They're all fantasy football related. It's the usual stuff. It's all based on the popular assets that people have brought in. But yeah, so I've gone with Mitchell, Maddison. I do expect Leicester to win today, and obviously Maddison's the forefront of everything, so I'd like to think that he may get some returns today. I'd like to think. Salah, Martinelli, Saka coming through very luckily. One of our members, Karma Baby, actually captained Saka, so, and he was expecting Saka to outperform Salah this specific game week, which so far, and the fact that he's got 13 points suggests to me that Salah has either, I'm stating the obvious, has got to match it or do better. I don't think he will do better. I think that Salah today at most is 10 points, 10, 11 points. I don't think that he's going to get as many as Saka. I think Salah gets a goal today. Just a goal. That's it. Bru's now become a member again. Thank you, mate. Do appreciate that. Again, I'm going to be talking quite a lot selfishly today about many things that are going on with Elite FPL. So just bear with. But thank you for the continued membership there, Bru. But yeah, Saka, I think, may have ended up being the best captaincy option this week. I generally don't think Salah's going to better that result today. I think it will be quite tight, even though I'm thinking 2-3-0, 2-3-1. I think that the goals are going to be spread today. Jesus, of course, 2 points. Surprise, surprise. Arsenal score 3 goals and Jesus does nothing. And then we've got Kane and Isaac. I genuinely think, as Bru's saying here, I think this is amazing that Bru is actually going to Newcastle tomorrow. My uncle's actually in Newcastle right now. He's taken his other half to Newcastle, and yeah, they're in Newcastle. I said, oh, you are aware that Newcastle are playing in a massive game tomorrow against Tottenham. He was unaware of this, so he's going to avoid the city centre. Have you ever been before, Bru, to Newcastle? Be interesting to know, but I genuinely see this game being quite open. I don't know why. It's based on absolutely nothing. You know, I did a half an hour members video yesterday going into the history and the potential outcomes and all this nonsense. And reality is that it's probably going to end up being 1-1. I just have this gut instinct that this could be really, really high scoring. So I think that potentially there could be a chance that the likes of Son, Kane, Isaac, Almiron, Guimarães, I can't think of any other Newcastle, but Joe Linton, you know, the likes of Winnersh, Wilson is another one. I genuinely can see potentially this ridiculous scoreline where it's going to be like 3-2, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2. I don't know why. It's just there in my head. Hence why it's going to end up being 0-0. But yeah, I think this free hit is probably the best time to play it. And I was just listening in actually while I was just setting up this stream here into Black Box with Az and Luke. And I agree with Luke. I think that this is a game week where you can just have a bit of fun if you want. For me, I don't want to really risk going against the 10 plate really, but I did want to get rid of certain players where I thought, well, I don't think you're going to outperform the players that I'm potentially bringing in, the likes of Ollie Watkins and Tony. I've already got them in my team, and I don't know why. I just don't think that's going to be the high scoring points that people are expecting from Watkins and Tony, even though ironically I'm predicting a high scoring game, which I know that's completely contradictory to what I've done with my team, but I'm thinking they're 1-1, 2-2, to be honest with you. But I don't really expect Tony and Watkins to be coming through with double-digit hauls, because for some reason I think, I don't know why, but it does appear that whenever a player gets a double-digit haul, the following week they only get like a single. So yeah, Ollie Watkins can come through with 9 points today. Tony could come through with 9 points. But it usually happens in these game weeks where when you expect something to happen, it doesn't, but then it happens the following week. So, for instance, I always use the Champions League as an example where, let's just say, it usually happens with Liverpool. The week where you expect... So let's just take this week as an example. And I'm fully aware Liverpool aren't in the Champions League. I get that. But let's just take this week as an example. Nottingham Forest. They're playing Liverpool. You're thinking, wow, Salah's going to get a double-digit haul. Robertson, Trent, Gakpo, all these players, they're going to get amazing high scores. And it ends up being 1-0, 6 points for Trent, 6 points for Robertson. And it's... Núñez with the goal, Jota with the assist in a 1-0 win. But then they play someone like Napoli in the Champions League. Salah gets a 2 goals. Robertson gets an assist. Trent gets a goal and assist in a 3-1 victory. It's really weird. If you remember last week or the week before, when Aston Villa were playing whoever it was it Fulham? And you had people like Dredd and Dale captaining Watkins. And he came through just with, 5 points? Because he scored a last minute... I can't remember the exact situational circumstance that happened. I could quickly check here. But certainly Ollie Watkins came through with 5 points. And everybody was thinking, well, you know, this particular game week, he's going to come through. That was it. It was against Nottingham Forest. And he got a yellow card in that game as well. And he scored in a 2-0 victory. He got 5 points. Then the following week, he gets the double-digit return that everybody was expecting him to do against Nottingham Forest. And last week, obviously, he was playing against Newcastle, one of the hardest teams in the division to play, and yet he scores 2 goals, gets an assist, 3 bonus points. So really, today, Salah is going to be doing fuck all. Because he got his double-digit haul last week when it was in that 6-1 victory against Leeds. So yeah, I just find fantasy football seems to work in mysterious ways, really. And so whatever you're expecting this week, expect it to happen the next game week. It's really bizarre. I had a very, very, very strange experience yesterday as well. Again, I did a members video on it. I'll briefly go over it now, and I'd like people to basically go out their way to check this particular podcast out. So a lad called Tyler reached out to me. I talked about this last week on the stream that we did at 3:00, but a lad reached out to me on Instagram, which is a social media I don't actually use. I've got an account, but I don't actually use it. I literally go on it once every 2 weeks to see potentially if a friend has messaged me. Usually they've sent me some nonsense on a reel that will just piss me off from the gym, some bellend that's desperately needing attention, and he deliberately sends me this videos. But point being is that I saw a message request, and I thought, oh, here we go, it's just going to be some spam that I usually get regarding do you want to be an affiliate of this t-shirt company? Do you want to be a sponsor for this particular gym brand? Fuck off. And it wasn't. It was actually from a human being. And essentially, the individual approached me and just said, look, I'm doing a university dissertation on the workings of social media and someone that they look up to and all this malarkey. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And admittedly, he wrote that like I said, like a week prior to me even seeing this. So I just responded saying, yeah, I'll happily talk to you for 20 minutes or whatever. And then of course he wrote, I'm also a massive fan of extras. We could also talk about that. And I thought, right, have you got an hour then? Anyhow, after the days of communication, we arranged to do the podcast yesterday. And he was doing it, Tyler, his name is, he was doing it via Zoom. So because he's not paying for it, I'm not paying for it. He decided to, it's only 40 minutes you get for the Zoom call. So we spent the first 40 minutes talking. And during that 40 minutes, he was showing me his posters and everything on his. It's really sweet, actually. It was very, very nice that it was just speaking to a 21-year-old lad, and he was almost like what a 21-year-old lad used to be, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, he openly admits that he doesn't really use social media. He doesn't really watch much TV and stuff. He focuses more on what I preach about, real life. Going outside, doing things, actually experience things like I did last night. Going to watch this band here. If you can... Oh, it's that way, is it? I'll try and stand up. And there. If you can read that. When I watched Bound in Theatre last night, and Vulvadinho were headlining and stuff, and just enjoying it for what it was, and just getting out. And the point being is that he then revealed, and he is going to be sending to me in the post, a little A5 poster that he had drawn up of it was fucking hilarious. He had the Elite FPL, that's not the funny bit, the Elite FPL badge in the corner. He drew this, by the way. Elite FPL badge in the corner. And then there was a picture of me. The only way to describe it is, that the typical troll face that you see all the time, the troll meme. Imagine that, but with glasses. It was really sweet. And he'd drawn this picture, and it had 2 quotes on the side of it. And it basically just said, what was it? 1-1, 0-0. And then what was the other one? I can't for the life of me remember what it was. I literally just burst out laughing, and it kind of broke the ice, because when you meet anybody in whether it's online or specifically in real life, you kind of want to break the ice. You don't want to do what some dickhead did this morning in the gym, when ironically I was actually responding to Karma Baby on the Discord, and because it's very rare that I'm on my phone in the gym, but I just finished my lateral pull downs, 30 reps, bro, and actually fuck that, it was 40 reps, 30 to the front and 30 behind, like that makes a difference. But I was just sat there just quickly doing a message while I was waiting for my minute to turn up, and he just comes over and he just goes, "Oh, yeah, hi. Are you using that?" "Using what?" "The bar." "Well, yeah." And he just looked at me like, why are you talking to me like that for? I'll tell you why I'm talking to you like that. Because why the fuck would you come over to me when I'm clearly sitting on the fucking piece of equipment that I'm using, and you want to use the fucking bar? Think! It's fucking unbelievable. And of course, after I've done my set and everything, I went onto the assisted chin-up bar. He then comes over, does what he has to do. How does he do the exercise? The old... doing it completely wrong. I just shook my head like, yeah, brilliant. 2 seconds later, I then go on the seated... seated row. After doing one set, some lad comes over again. "How many more sets you got?" For fuck's sake. Like, no one ever uses this piece of equipment. Nobody. And the one fucking time I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this today while I've got time on my hands. I'm going to do as many sets as I can on here. And you got this fucking dickhead hanging around me like a fucking dry fart in a lift. And I'm just like, can't you just fucking exercise on any other piece of equipment? Because I've been watching you. Because obviously you clock certain individuals, and you're not suspicious. No disrespect to the guy, but he wasn't like he was an amateur trainer. He was training any exercise that he could get on. And of course, the one piece of equipment he wants to use is when someone's using it, in this case me. So then he goes next to me, and then he just sits there doing this. By the time I'd done 30 reps on the thing, he just decided to start doing reverse flies and just doing this. Which I find ironic, because when you're doing isolation movements, you're supposed to contract the muscle and squeeze. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not getting any benefit of the exercise whatsoever. But, yeah, and then he stopped after doing 4 reps, gets out his phone again, starts typing away on WhatsApp. Never seen so many laughing emojis in my life. And he does another set of 3 reps. I finish, walk off, and he just goes, "Oh, just fuck off." But anyway, it was I talking about Tyler, wasn't I? Yeah. So I then did the podcast with him. It was only like 40 minutes, and if you want to listen to the podcast, just go on at Elite FPL. I've put the link on at Elite FPL on Twitter. I've put the link on at Total Stevo if you follow me on Twitter as well. And honestly, it was the most surreal experience of my life. A genuine fan of the show, and I don't mean like people that are watching this now or people that tune in on a regular basis or members aren't genuine fans, but it was the fact that he was coming out with things which not even I could even remember. And then we started to, I mean, half of it is about FPL, the other half of it is about extras. And it was really enjoyable actually just talking about extras and like my favourite episode and the impact of it. I mean, predominantly the episode is about Elite FPL. You just said half, Steve? But yeah, predominantly most of it is to do with Elite FPL. And, you know, I'm as I always am, I'm open, frank with everything, and pretty much... can anybody hear that annoying fucking sound? Yeah, so I'm pretty frank and pretty straight to the point with my opinion. You don't say. And I was just making basic points about the fact that, you know, where I see elite FPL going and stuff. You'll be pleased to know I had a conversation strong. I was talking obviously about Jason and everything, and I messaged him after the show, and I just said, or after the podcast, just how things were and everything. And again, I'm not going to go into major detail, but like I said, clearly there's something going on in his life, and we are going to be speaking next week. So hopefully he'll be streaming soon. But yeah, at the end of the day, real life takes over. Mark Southerns, as a simple example, is an individual who very, very, very highly regarded in the world of fantasy football. But as we all know, he struggles with certain mental health issues. And, you know, the reality of the situation is that is more important, looking after yourself and taking time out from something which may or may not cause stress. And yeah, I think that from Jason's perspective, maybe taking a time out from this is hopefully helping him through whatever he's going through. But like I said, I'll be on the phone call with him at some point next week. And there was something I was about to say. Oh yeah, one of the actual questions was that Tyler asked was about